creepy, and cool TikToks that will blow your mind. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go!
Disclaimer: this video is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research, as these clips haven't been fact-checked.
Breaking news, El Chapo, one of the most notorious drug lords in Mexico, has been found guilty on all 10 counts by a federal jury in New York City. You're seeing never-before-seen footage of El Chapo being transferred to the United States just 2 years ago by DEA agents from Mexico. As you see there, one of those agents standing behind in the background, El Chapo, looking up at one of the officers. He is in custody, as Josh was describing, under pretty secure conditions. Josh, speaking of resources and being resourceful, we do know that El Chapo has operated like a mob boss in Mexico. Has there been any concern about the safety of the jurors and the safety of the witnesses who had to come forward and testify publicly here?
Well, that was some discussion, and it always is with a very, very violent person who's on trial. A number of commentators were wondering, was the delay in the jury coming to a verdict, taking over 5 days, was that in somehow related to some fear the jurors might have for their own safety? Frankly, I was talking to other journalists who were watching this, and people were remarking among reporters that would you really want to be on the jury for this kind of a trial? And the truth is, it has to be taken into account. The judge has taken extra special precautions in terms of keeping identities safe, secure, not releasing information, not releasing the identities of cooperating witnesses. But truth is that there is always a level of danger associated with this, but there's still, the jury did its job. It listened to 3 months of testimony, and then the jury took its time, 5.5 days of deliberations, and they came to this result: guilty on all 10 counts.
Man, look at those eyes though. But he looks like he's been psychology torture. What do you think?
The timer start now. Immediately what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up this photo in Photoshop, because in Photoshop I can sit here and mess with the light levels to see if there's anything in the background of the photo. We can see right here there is a menu. I think that's going to be our biggest clue. We also have this thing where the light is sitting in, so when we're looking for the table, that's going to be good. We also have this kind of like patterned wood grain. So this is all distinct things that we're going to be looking for. Since this is the DNG file, it's the raw file, I'm going to see if the uncropped photo is still saved. It is. Okay. And do we get more menu? We do get more menu in the original photo. So this is actually very helpful. I think this right here is an I. This is like a capital M that's like really bold, like that. And this right here is an X. You can see right here this different coloring. It outlines exactly an X. So I think the last 3 letters of the menu of this restaurant are XIM.
Wow.
Okay, so you can see from his tweets that his most likely place he's always in a lot, from what I've seen, is in Hong Kong. So this is what we have to work with right now, is XIM in Hong Kong. What if it's mix and it is reverted? And that could definitely be the case. In the mixing room. Oh, look at that. There you go. That's the same candle right there. That's definitely the table. All right. He was sitting in this seat right here, or like one seat to the left of that, in the mixing room in Hong Kong.
Wow. It should work for the CIA or FBI. But you know, most pictures from mobile phones nowadays include the exact position they've been taken from, what is it? Metadata.
This Paris situation just got even worse. Immediately after billions of people chose to laugh at Jesus Christ at the Olympics, some pretty insane things have been happening in Paris. New information has just emerged about how an Olympic surfer was told to remove his picture of Jesus from his board, or else he'd be disqualified from the competition. There is more to the story, but first, did you see the footage of the total blackout of the city of Paris the night after the opening ceremony? You tell me, is this a coincidence? Because one thing no one can deny, and it's this: Christians will not be silent. Thousands of believers arrived on the streets of Paris on Sunday, praising the name of Jesus Christ. And I am going to make a strong statement now. I believe millions are currently boycotting the Olympics, and I want to know, are you one of them? If you are, please tell me in the comments, and if you are new to the channel, please do subscribe.
I'm on board, but you know, it's sad for those who've worked so hard to get there.
Apparently life at the Olympic Village is an absolute shit show, and food is the biggest reason why. France is trying to push a healthier plant-based diet, and athletes are saying it is not cutting it. They don't have enough calories, enough protein, and just enough food in general. Second reason for the issue is that the Olympic Committee has come forward saying they are having some supply issues. In other words, they can't get enough food. The third reason for the complaints is some athletes have said that they have received raw meat.
No.
In fact, the entire Great Britain Olympic team has been told not to eat any of the food at the Olympic Village. The second biggest issue is the air conditioning, or lack thereof. In an attempt to run the most eco-friendly Olympic Games ever, the committee opted out of air conditioning. Instead, they planted shade trees and installed fans. Rooms should stay at 79 degrees Fahrenheit. After getting enough complaints from Australia and the United States, the committee allowed some athletes to bring in an AC unit. The Olympic Committee has responded saying they have heard the complaints and are trying as hard as possible to rectify these issues.
That's just great. And you know, how do they not have proper food accommodations for professional athletes? I don't get it.
Paris just experienced a massive power outage one day after mocking Christianity at the Olympics by recreating the Last Supper with men dressed in drag. At this year's Olympics, the opening ceremony featured a woman portraying Jesus, with drag queens around her portraying the disciples, which sparked massive controversy worldwide for the obvious blasphemy that occurred. The Olympics also featured other satanic imagery to mock the Bible, such as worshipping a golden calf in reference to Exodus 32:4, as well as featuring the apocalyptic pale horse of death in Revelation 6:8. The organizer of these anti-Christian themes goes by the name of Thomas Jolly, a Talmudic Satanist who has also been under fire for orchestrating the performances. However, God quickly judged the city of Paris just one day after, with a blackout hitting the entire city except for one church, known as the Sacré-Cœur Basilica. Many people refer to this incident as a divine judgment from God after mocking his name. Galatians 6:7 says, "Do not be deceived, God is not mocked, for whatever one sows, that will he also reap. God is rich in mercy and slow to anger." However, there does come a point in time where he will no longer tolerate the blasphemy of his word as well as his son, Jesus Christ.
What would be the maximum budget that you would want to spend?
30 mil.
Okay. Do you want to have one section, two sections, or three sections? There's 4 people in a section.
8 minimum.
8 minimum. So now we're down to 58. The next one is the maximum range. So the longest trip from A to B, where do you think that would be 5 or 6 times a year?
I'd say maybe Dubai to London.
This is the range that you can go nonstop. Okay, so anywhere in Europe, you can make it to South Africa, and you can make it to Singapore. So this is 100% scale. I'm 6 foot, I'm 180. This is the exact size. This is what it looks like outside, and this is what it looks like inside. So you can see it's got those 3 sections. This is the door that closes off, and you got that bedroom back there and the bathroom behind it. Let's say this airplane, you're going to fly it 350 hours a year, and you're going to pay $450 a gallon. That airplane's going to cost about $3.6 million a year to run it. To move furniture around is very, very expensive. If you wanted to change this couch to 2 chairs, it would cost about $400,000. When you have an airplane, the budget is broken up into 2 things. You got fixed cost, and you have variable cost. Fixed cost is what you have to pay whether you fly 1 hour or 400 hours. And then every hour you fly it, you have fuel, landing fees, catering. The variable cost per hour is $5,700. Replace the carpet, it's $70,000.
Today.
Very similar process to, when I bought my Camry.
Hey, I'm meeting with my friend Sandra. She completely redesigned this Gulfstream from the inside out.
Welcome on board.
Jet owners don't usually customize their planes very much, so it's crazy to see something like this.
I don't know if I feel like James Bond or Dr. Evil.
Catwoman.
A Catwoman. Sorry.
Every single aspect of this plane's interior is carefully thought out. It's really something straight out of a movie. Even the pilots fit right in. But of course, I had to ask the burning question.
How much did it cost you to do the complete airplane over?
5.5 million. Wow. Beauty has its price.
Let's have a look at the outside. This plane is really one of a kind.
They painted it twice. First, they painted it glossy black. They put like duct tape really on the stripes, and then they painted it in a transparent satin finish, and then you get the matte look.
Sandra was telling me she wanted to upgrade to a G550 soon. Can't wait to see what she'll do with that one.
So, do jet owners pay to have their jets detailed? If so, how much would they pay for a full overhaul? You know, like interior clean and exterior detail. Anyone knows? Drop a comment, please. Yup, they don't hide it because they think they've done a good job of making a bunch of sheep, but aren't realizing the spiritual war we're fighting back in.
I'm an American who lives in the almost Middle East, and I am on a trip back home to the Midwest right now. Let me tell you, I will never not have reverse culture shock at the fact that Westerners don't use bidets. I will never, not ever, be able to see us the same way after I have experienced a lifestyle of using a bidet, and now I come here. We don't have them. We don't have them. We don't use them. And some Americans are grossed out by them. And let me tell you, it is causing me to have the biggest ick about my own country, culture, and people.
Finally, someone spoke it. But bidet is hygienic and way better than just toilet paper. And I can't believe you'll just walk with, you know, the poop stain that would stick in your pants. What the?
This walrus was given his own floating couch so that he would stop sinking boats along Europe's west coast. Wally is believed to have fallen asleep on an iceberg and then drifted in blissful ignorance south from the Arctic to Ireland, which is a very unusual place for walruses to be. After he was initially spotted, Wally decided to take a solo vacation across Western Europe, and marine biologists tracked him as he visited the UK, France, and even Spain. He then started making his way back up north, but during his 6-week stay on the Isles of Scilly, Wally started getting up to some mischief, and he started using boats as his personal nap rafts. Because Wally weighed an estimated 1,800 pounds at the time, and some of the vessels that he chose were relatively small, he ended up capsizing and sinking several boats. So in an attempt to be accommodating hosts, and to try to minimize property damage, the British Divers Marine Life Rescue crafted a floating couch just for him, which was really a sturdy pontoon with 3 sides to lean against. Wally took to the floating couch, and once he left the area and continued north, Seal Rescue Ireland also prepared a special float for him, allowing Wally to actually couch surf his way back up the coast. After a short stay in Cork, Ireland, Wally was spotted in Iceland 22 days later, which was great news for everyone following his journey. This confirmed that Wally was successfully making his way back to the Arctic, where he's now believed to be living a much more typical walrus life with all of his walrus friends. I'm Jen, and I post something positive every day.
Wally and Neil the Seal should have their own TV show.
Most embarrassing examples of shrinkflation. XL removing a piece of gum to replace it with a thumb grip. Celebration cookies boosting up the bottom of the tray. Quality Street boxes have been caught shrinking over time. This person wondered where all the bottoms of their candy canes went. bruh. Kraft dinner boxes are shrinking as the price stays the same. Pringles are now nearly half the size.
Really?
Pop-Tarts are using less icing. WD-40 cans are shrinking but claiming to have more product. This person's McDonald's pickle was thicker than the actual burger.
Okay.
What? If you're from the US, please confirm this. Thank you.
Okay, some major breaking news. Last night, we just witnessed one of the most serious escalations to all-out war in the Middle East. Both the leader of Hamas and a top Hezbollah commander have been killed within hours of each other. Israel have not claimed responsibility for the leader of Hamas, but they have for the Hezbollah commander, saying that it was in retaliation for a strike Hezbollah carried out on a football pitch that killed 12 Israeli children and teenagers on Saturday. But here's the thing that is worrying leaders around the world right now. Currently, Israel is only at direct war with Hamas. But last night's assassinations were carried out in Lebanon and Iran, to which Iran's supreme leader has responded, "It is our duty to take revenge and severely punish the Zionist entity for the assassination in Iran, because the assassination was carried out on our soil." Israel's Minister of Defense then said, "We don't want war, but we are preparing for all possibilities." And then Israel also today increased the security of their Olympic athletes in France and Israeli embassies around the world. The US said that they are trying to calm things down, but they will defend Israel if they are attacked. The UK told British nationals in Lebanon to leave immediately or risk becoming trapped in a war zone. And I mean, on that note alone, the terrifying prospects of all-out war between Israel and Hezbollah is that Hezbollah's forces and weaponry are embedded in civilian infrastructure, and as a result, an attack on them could kill tens of thousands of Lebanese. And I mean, here's the thing. Every world leader right now is saying the same thing. They're saying, we don't want things to escalate and we do not want all-out war. But every single day, we're waking up and the complete opposite is happening. So, of course, I'll keep you guys updated and hopefully with some good news.
The never-ending war. But let me know how you feel about this in the comment.
Tied up and left to die by her husband. Lalita Kai Kumar was chained to a tree in the Indian jungle without food or water, following a domestic dispute. She miraculously survived for 40 days, but she was saved when a local shepherd came upon her after hearing her cries for help. The 50-year-old was later rushed to the hospital and has now begun to detail her experiences in a letter where she revealed that she has extreme psychosis, before going on to say, "I'm a crime victim, but I'll survive."
I'm not saying this isn't real. I'm truly just trying to figure out how this poor woman even survived. I cannot imagine being in her place. God bless her.
This is the powerful underworld figure Ahmed Al-Hamza, one of Melbourne's most secretive high-profile gangsters. Al-Hamza was filmed partying in Dubai in a rare public appearance. The Hamza family expat left Australia for the UAE in 2022 and has spent much of his time there since. He was acquitted of shooting dead a drug dealer in 2017 after he survived an attempt on his own life. Ahmed is one of several Australian underworld figures to move to the UAE in recent years. Crime boss Kazim Hamid is believed to have been banished from Dubai after his criminal background became known to authorities, while two young men suspected of a bungled 2022 hit on a senior bikie fled there shortly after the attempt.
This is who you all let run Australia? I don't get it. Maybe because I'm not familiar with the lifestyle. But what do you think? Let me know in the comment, please.
Yes. No. ¿Pueden?
Tú eres extranjero, ¿no? Por acá roban, pero ten cuidado, hermano.
Pero hay personas allá que me roban ahora, ¿no? Ahora no.
Todo, porque uno te regresa por allá mejor, hermano.
Ok. Así es mejor.
Mejor regrésate, varón. Porque acá están a robar, hermano.
¿Dónde? Abajo.
Tú eres extranjero, cualquiera te puede robar, hermano.
Sí, yo sé. Está bien. Sí, I'll hide it. Okay, yo cuida eso. Wow, that is very creepy. That guy really spooked me out with his tips here to get away, because he said people are gonna rob me. Wow, but it doesn't feel like it. Yeah. I see what he means.
Man, a local giving out real life saving warning, and he have the indecency to call that guy creepy. All right.
How do you feel about fish?
Well, can you get fish with no mercury? Very difficult.
What's mercury?
Mercury is a heavy metal, and mercury is a waste product from much industry, and that's how come.
Is that true? Or is that a fear mongle?
No, it's not.
No, it's true.
It's like the Minamata Bay. Minamata Bay in about the 1970s, they noticed that in Japan, the cats were backflipping and then dying. So they did post-mortem on the cat and found out that mercury had eaten out their brain cells. And there was a big factory and it was pumping out into Minamata Bay mercury waste. Mercury is a heavy metal. It sinks to the bottom of the sea. And one of the problems with mercury is that it's bioaccumulative. And what that means is it accumulates. So the bigger the fish, the higher the accumulation of mercury. You get neurological problems like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, Huntington's, dementia. They're all diseases of a deterioration of the nerve cell. And that's what mercury is. It's a neurotoxin, meaning brain cell poison.
You know, I heard people say it's the fish at the top of the food chain that contain high mercury content. You know, like sharks, kingfish, barracuda, etc. And the thing with this fish are they don't have scale. That's why the Bible said eat fish with scales.
Yo, he's definitely onto something here.
What do you mean by devil music? Because I listen to music, I'm like, is this what Luke was talking about? Like, should I not be listening to this right now?
Who's the origin source of that song? What's their intent? What are the lyrics? What are the lyrics telling me? Is it nurturing my soul? Is it destroying me? Is it making me view women in a different lens? Is it making me think about things that I shouldn't be thinking about? Or is it inspiring me? Is it pushing me towards positivity? Usually, once again, if it's mainstream, it's based on controlled narratives. And I would just be very careful, whether it's a podcast, whether it's a YouTube video, whether it's a movie, whether it's a song, be very careful and try to avoid anything that you think isn't going to nurture your soul. Be very careful with the lyrics because repetition influences behavior.
I know that this is true because I know that the opposite is also true. The Bible says that you and I are actually transformed. We become new creations by the renewing of our mind. What we set our eyes on, what we behold, is what we will become. If you agree, type amen in the comments and click follow or subscribe for more.
Yeah, there's a chapter in Ephesians where God urges people not to conform to the natures of the world.
This is a $24 million Embraer Praetor 600.
You can fly from London to New York or even farther with no problem pretty much any time of the year.
How much is a first class ticket to go from here to New York?
Something between $6,000 to $9,000.
Fuel burn on this airplane to go the same route?
250 gallons an hour, 8 hours, 2,000 gallons.
Sounds like the same price.
That's right.
Plus you can hold 9 people on this airplane.
That's correct. And it could fly for over 9 hours, but today our flight will take a little under 8. It has the lowest cabin altitude of any super mid-size jet in the market. In addition to that, it helps you a lot with jet lag, which allows us to arrive a lot more refreshed. We'll be supported by K-band connectivity over the Atlantic. So we'll be able to work just like we were back in Mayfair in London.
I'll be able to be on the telephone as well, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And plus we can have like 4 people on the airplane, so we're going to be able to work uninterrupted, as you will on the airlines, but you can't really talk in private.
Correct.
So it's so much more efficient and productive.
That's what we all sell in the end of the day, productivity. Ooh. Those are time machines.
Time is money. Buy a jet.
I like planes.
I need somebody to make this make sense.
So California has officially outlawed homelessness.
What?
They came on the news the other day, Gavin Newsom, and it said that he's officially outlawed homelessness, meaning he said they're going to clean up California. They're going to pick up all the tents. They're going to pick up everything that the homeless people are leaving out. And they're going to bring California back to a desirable place to live. But the strange part that shocks me, and I don't know what this actually means, it was the amount of money that was allocated towards tackling this problem of homelessness in California. That number was so huge, it put $1 million per homeless person in California. Do you know what that means? The homeless population in California, I think, was about 140,000, or 140,000 people do not have roofs over their head. The number that they proposed, or they said that they're going to allocate towards that, allotted for $1 million per head. Do you understand why I'm saying this? If they're going to provide someone a home and they have $1 million per person to get them $1 million home, to get them off the street, where's this money coming from? This is, and it's not just California, guys. There's other states involved in this. They're just the first ones to actually do it. Either they're gonna buy these abandoned skyscrapers, or they're gonna build each one of these people a home valued at $1 million.
I doubt it.
I can't make this stuff up. This, I don't know what to say. You let me know what y'all think about that in the comment section. I'm out.
Did you
Most of the money will go to somebody's pocket.
know these facts? The Boeing factory is so large they had to install a one-of-a-kind air circulation system to stop clouds from forming inside of the building. This is the world's smallest drawbridge in Bermuda. The US Navy is known to have used Xbox controllers to control the periscopes on submarines.
No.
James Cameron was homeless when he wrote The Terminator. He sold the rights for $1 on the condition that he was the one to direct the movie. A race was held in 1888 between a pigeon and a bee for 3 miles, where the bee won by 25 seconds. Camels have 3 eyelids that helps protect their eyes from the blowing sand. Cherries are dried with helicopters. It would take you 18 months to walk the Great Wall of China.
No.
The USA speaks more than 350 different languages.
What?
Scientists are out there making arguments that we may have more than 5 senses, one of them being magnetoreception, which is the ability to sense magnetic fields, and the other is chronoception, which is the ability to sense time passing.
No. You know what? If Boeing factory forms clouds under its roof, that means, are we under a dome? Comment, please.
People hear the word witchcraft, they think of like this scary, like, I have a big hat, we meet at midnight under the moon and like gather in a coven with salt around us. Like, witchcraft, it's like I said, literally on the Uber screen, pick your zodiac sign, that's witchcraft. Witchcraft is yoga even. I mean, we can talk about that later if you want, but it's, and that's kind of where, what my edge was. It was never, I would have never called myself a witch then with all the stuff that I was doing. I would have just called myself a spiritualist. I was that girl where it's like, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual, but you can't mix the two. It's oil and water. It's 2 kingdoms trying to make a kingdom of neutrality, which doesn't exist. It's the kingdom of light or the kingdom of dark. And if it's not of the kingdom of light, I'm always saying, like, by process of elimination, if it's not the Holy Spirit, then what is it? Because there's 2.
Manipulation is a form of witchcraft. So happy to hear other people saying this about yoga. It's so trendy. They don't even know.
This video isn't a warning of what might be, it's a warning of what's here now. So last week, Benjamin Netanyahu came and met with the US, and they received privileges to do certain really devastating evil things. 3 days ago, all these nations were warning their citizens to leave Lebanon, because if they did not leave Lebanon, they'd be stuck there for at least 6 months. Just a few hours ago, Israel bombed the crap out of Lebanon. Beirut to be exact, but what happened right before Israel did that? Let's look. Not even 7 hours before they did it, Turkey said they will be sending forces to fight Israel if they enter Lebanon. A few days ago, I told you that you're going to see bigger countries respond to this. Let me show you. Putin comes out and calls these strikes on Lebanon a violation of international law. And not only that, but Putin has already met with Hezbollah, Hamas, and all these other forces months ago and started building bases right there. As you can see right here. In terms of biblical alignment, parallels, and revelations, this is exactly what we're waiting for. And if you don't know what I mean, this has all happened once before. It'll happen one last time now. Make sure your soul's going to the right place, because this has just started.
Looks like Ezekiel 38:39 is coming closer.
This encounter changed my life forever. And whenever the Lord showed me the Antichrist, I saw him in meetings in Berlin. I tried to tell you all he was in Berlin. Whenever he was doing whenever everybody surrenders their kingdoms to him in 1 hour, he was in Berlin when this takes place, okay? And he was at a big round table. Okay, so, and whenever I was shown all this, he wasn't even in the news. Now he's in the news all the time. So, he creates a flag whenever he is ruling as Antichrist over the world, okay? And he pulls down everybody else's flags, and there's only one world, one flag for the whole world, and it's his flag, okay? And this is what the flag looks like.
All right, this is the guy who predicted Trump assassination attempt. But on this one, I think I missed something because I don't know who he's saying is the Antichrist. Anyone?
I've been holding out on you guys. These are Greenlandic sled dogs. They are one of the purest and most isolated dog breeds in the world because they are not allowed to be bred with any other type of dog. The puppies are allowed to roam around free until they're about 6 months old, and then after 6 months, they will be chained up outside. These dogs are working dogs. They love to be outside. They want to be outside. And one of the most important things that you need to know as a traveler to Greenland is you should never, ever approach a sled dog without explicit permission from its owner.
Why?
These sled dogs are my friend Anna's, and she has puppies, so we got to go and play with them for a while. These dogs work during the winter months, and during the summer months, they might get taken out to an island on the fjord where they will just live throughout the summer months and can just roam free and wild and have food dropped off to them.
This is interesting. Why do they need to be chained? Is it like a social thing or something to help them, like adapt?
This is an Airbus 319, 320. So usually when somebody comes in, I'll send them in here for a little bit to sort of get the feeling of being in the plane. I'll say, how much you want to spend? So let's say the guys want to spend 20 million bucks. So out of 145 choices, there's only 112 that are under 20 million. Okay, so now you have all these choices. So let's say you want to compare the Challenger 650, a G550, Falcon 7X. So now I could say, this is the range from New York, nonstop. So the blue is the Challenger, the Falcon's the yellow, and the red is the Gulfstream. This is
impressive just on the Challenger.
For $20 million, you can get Global, G550. This is 100% scale. So I'm 6 foot. This is 100% side. The 550 has this much headroom, and this has this much headroom. So it's like a process where you don't know anything, and in a half an hour, I can make you an expert on, why you don't want this and why you want that.
Well, it's very impressive. I mean, just the whole layout is incredible. Well, thank you. Yeah, no, I should be good, but I appreciate it.
This guy is an absolute sales boss.
I've been trying to figure out for the longest, what the fuck kind of balls do you have to just jump off of a building? Fuck the parachute. I'm trying to figure out what store do I gotta go in. Excuse me, sir, can I get the large set of balls real quick? Yeah, I need an extra testosterone in them bitches, cause what the fuck? And then he ready to go on here and do it again. Police.
Thailand. I would probably get scared so much I forgot to open the parachute.
It's so much better to live in than Dubai. And here are a few reasons why. Now, first of all, Dubai is way too materialistic, with literally everyone focused on flexing their money, buying the most expensive watch or car just to show off and prove a point. And I really don't understand it because you can't take it to the grave, right? And to be honest, it just seems so fake. See, here in Thailand, you can walk around in flip-flops and vests and nobody is judging you. Even though people might have less here, they're happy and they're smiling. And it's not all about money. But this brings me on to my next point. The cost of living in Thailand is so much cheaper and more affordable than it is in Dubai. You can stay in condos like this one with luxury facilities such as infinity pools for less than $500 per month. You'd be lucky to even get a room in Dubai for that price. Next is scenery. Dubai is in a desert, and even though it may be beautiful, there's only so much you can do. Thailand has tropical islands, mountains, megacities, and an endless amount of things to see and do. And you're probably thinking, what about safety? See, I'd personally argue that Thailand is just as as safe as Dubai. You can leave your keys in your bike, your phone on your table. Majority of the time, it will still be there. From my experience, people don't really steal over here. Anyway, let me know which one you prefer in the comments.
Cancer loves three things. It loves mucus, it loves yeast, and it loves acid. And caffeine is one of the most acidic things on the planet to your body. And they've got 40,000 Starbucks out there. So you wonder why it's 1 in 2 people with cancer? You're drinking yourselves this coffee all day because you're tired. But let's stop and think a minute. You're tired, so you need a brown liquid to wake you up. Why are you tired? You weren't born tired. You know, we are connected to the circadian rhythms of the universe. So when the sun comes up, our bodies are supposed to get up. And as the sun comes down, we're supposed to gradually lose our energy so that then we rest and regenerate for the next day. So if you're tired at 10 in the morning when you wake up, what's that telling me? It's telling me that your cells didn't get any food to wake you up. Your cells didn't get any fuel or nutrients to get you up. So you need a drug to make you get going for the day. But you don't really have the real energy to do it. This is a false energy. And that false energy in my world is killing you.
Man, this is so hard. You know, I grew up on coffee, but she got a point, you know.
Of course, they will say something like, for the record, state your name. And this is where the trick is played on you. Because you don't know who you are, you will say, my name is Richard Vobes. And at that moment, they've got you. Because effectively what's happened is you've said, I'm the top hat, or the dog, or the train, or the iron. You've become the player of the game. You've become the fiction, because their world can only work on the fiction. A real living man cannot enter a real court. They cannot deal with you. So they have to get you to be the legal fiction. And so what happens then is they become the executive, they become the sole beneficiary, and you become a legal representative of the trust, but you end up paying out of your own money. So what you should do, of course, is tell them the truth, because you're not a capitalized version of your name. You're not the top hat. You're not the character that's playing the legal game. Of course you're not. You're a real living man. You're the executor of the estate of the top hat, or the capitalization, the persona of your living man. That's who you are, just as in Monopoly. So you would say, well, I'd like to introduce myself. I am the executor and the sole beneficiary of the estate of Richard Vobes, the legal persona.
Wow, I like that.
But I am the executor. And as there is only 3 people that can be in a trust, it means the judge, or the prosecutor, or the Crown Court, the clerk of the court, is the trustee. The role can switch around depending on who is taking the role, but one of them will have that role. They will in fact have a checkbook ready to pay should you announce.
I like that. But you know, why don't lawyers advise all this when talking to their clients? Why do they let you go along with this?
Visiting New York City, Penn Station is the worst place in New York. Let's say you want some coffee. You better have the app, because if you order from her, he's going to be right next to you asking you for a cup of coffee.
Man.
Let's say you want to use the bathroom. You're never going to get into this. Because that's what you do, you know what? And take showers. So you see a large crowd of people just waiting around. Not for long, as soon as that gate number goes up, these Long Islanders and New Jersey people run to that train. Like a stampede, you're going to get trampled on. Oh, and if there's a Rangers game, add that with all the drunk Rangers fans on top of it. Every time there's a Rangers game in Penn Station, they shut it down. And if you go at night, you're going to see all of this. This is the number 1 location in New York City to sleep in. But let's say something happens to you. And let's say you got to call the cops. Well, if it happened outside, you got to call the NYPD. If it happened inside, you got to call the MTA police. And if it happened on the other side, you got to call the Amtrak police. So good luck with that call. But this is the only place you don't get the Long Island Railroad, New Jersey Transit, and New York Subway.
This is where dreams are made of. You know the song, in New York.
It was a real shooter.
I think it was a real shooter. I absolutely think it was a real shooter. If you wanted to stage an attempted assassination, you would never shoot at the person who was the principal, the primary target that you're trying to support, right? So Donald Trump was the principal. If I was trying to stage an assassination to win him popular praise, I would not shoot at him because the risk is too great that the shot would either miss and hit him, possibly hit him fatally, or it would miss him and hit someone in the audience, and then a rally member dies, and now we have to account for why somebody at the rally died. Like people were killed and people were hurt at the Donald Trump rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. If you wanted to stage an assassination, you would shoot 35, 40 degrees off target, well away from anybody accidentally getting hit, because what's going to happen? Everybody's going to hear the gunshots. So the gunshots will still cause the panic. The Secret Service would still jump in. They'd still cover him. There'd still be all the same newsworthiness without the risk of killing somebody. And if you really, really wanted to make it like it made headlines, you could even potentially stage some kind of cut that's covered up with a small skin-colored Band-Aid so that when the shots go off, you can wipe off or pull off the Band-Aid and then there's going to be active red spots. You would never actually shoot at the principal. What people don't understand about conspiracies is that when you actually plan to carry out a covert action, you plan to carry out the covert action in the safest possible way. You don't run the risk of actually shooting the principal.
I'm not saying it was staged or anything, but to pretend that powerful people wouldn't kill some audience members to try to make something look more real is BS.
Couple found their golden retriever looking a little guilty and carrying a tiny hitchhiker on her back. They weren't quite sure what to make of the situation, but as it turns out, their dog might have actually saved this little koala's life by snuggling with him through a chilly morning. Carrie says that it was still early when her husband called her to the back door saying that there was something she had to see. She couldn't help but laugh when she saw her dog Asha taking her typical morning nap on the deck, but this time with a baby koala curled up on top of her. Asha seemed like she didn't quite know what to think, and she looked a bit guilty and confused when her family found her, but she also seemed perfectly content with her new friend, not trying to move the Joey at all. While nobody knows for sure how the two first came into contact, when Carrie called a wildlife expert, they concluded that the Joey was most likely an orphaned baby who had wandered into their yard and snuggled up with Asha because her fur was warm and cozy. Asha had been outside napping for a few hours, so the two may have been snuggling for quite a while, and because it was a cold morning and the Joey was young enough that he'd normally still be relying heavily on his mother for warmth, it's possible that Asha's snuggles were the reason he survived. He was taken to the vet for a checkup and then went to live with a local koala carer until he was old enough to return to the wild on his own. I'm Jen, and I post something positive every day.
You know, my dog be slacking. I still need to get that baby koala.
People don't understand when I tell them I don't drink water. I don't drink GMO water. That man takes tap water and restructure it and put chemicals in it and heat it up, reverse osmosis, distilled, all that. Let me show y'all what water I drink. It's called H3O2 structured water. Here we go. So see that? That's watermelon juice. When that separates, it turns into structured water. There's no perfect water except this. Looking young like I did when I was 19, bro. Y'all better get on it, man.
You know, the watermelons in the States are mostly GMO, but I still get what he's saying. And nobody thinks he looks 19, maybe 19 years ago.
5 absolutely mind-blowing Mandela effects. Number 1, where's your kidneys located? Lower back or in the rib cage? It's in the rib cage. Yes, it's not lower back. There's no boxing kidney shot anymore where you go round the body. It's in. If you don't believe me, go Google it. Let me know. Number 2, where's your heart located? If you said on the left-hand side, then you're from the reality that I'm from, which isn't the reality we're in right now. Because the one we're in right now, it's in the centre, slightly to the left, as the picture. Bonkers. Number 3, let's forget about the headbands. Apparently he never had a headband anyway, but also this guy just died again. Richard Timmons died on the 13th of July, 5 days ago. But he's died again, because if you're like me, you'll remember him dying years ago. Number 4, Patrick Swayze. When did he die? Did you think he died in 2009? Same year as Michael Jackson? Just 3 months after Michael Jackson, in fact? Didn't happen. Didn't die that long ago. Let me know what you think. And last one. Have we got any Wizard of Oz fans out there? Because the Scarecrow apparently had a gun.
Huh?
Does anybody ever remember that?
I Google it, and it says bag for kidneys.
You will never believe how tough it is to be Donald Trump's youngest son. For starters, at high school, Barron Trump had to use a fake name. His friends obviously knew, but all of his school records, computers, and even roll call were under an alias. Also, that would-be hackers couldn't steal his personal information or expose his grades. To get to school, he would be driven by the Secret Service and pull up in a black SUV at 8:30 a.m. sharp, just as the lobby was emptying and lessons were starting. So no chilling and catching up with friends before class. Barron would then have agents follow him all the way to his first classroom and stand outside by the door the entire time. And yes, if he needed to go to the bathroom, they would follow him there too. When lunchtime arrived, other students said that Barron would always go to the lunchroom to sit with his friends, but he never ate. One said he never specifically said why, just that he would wait until he got home to eat. It was a little unusual. How the hell did brother make it to 6'9", never eating lunch? He was the only student to go without a single mention in the school's yearbook. He didn't participate in any sports, attend any parties, and at the request of his mother, Barron was also forbidden from appearing in any social media posts. And as for his social life, well, his friends say he didn't really have much of one, and that if he did, it at least didn't include many friends from school. And unlike the treatment that the Secret Service gave his dad, when a 911 incident at a nearby supermarket temporarily sent the school into lockdown, an agent is said to have burst into the classroom and bundle Barron to safety until the threat was over. So the question is, do you think that it's sad that he missed out on a normal childhood? Or is that fat inheritance worth every minute?
6'9", and he get all that money? I think bro's doing fine.
That was my first engagement. I was on the second floor. We were the last team out, so we were pulling guard for the team going before us, climbing in the helicopter. I saw a guy across the street pop out with an AK and aim it up. And I'm like, whoa, okay. And I took a breath and it jammed on him. So he was like messing with it. And I remember just thinking, okay, you know, red dot, and boom. He either shot him right in the head or whatever. He disappeared in the room. His weapon flew out the window. And I was like, I started screaming for my team leader. Like, hey, Pete, did you see that? Pete, come here. I just shot this dude. And he's like, good job. Keep doing your job. And took off. You know, it was just who Pete was.
Was that your first kill? The guy on the roof?
Yeah.
Any hesitation at all?
No. I took a breath. Like, I don't want to miss was my hesitation. Not, oh, it's a human, you know, and he's just doing what I'm doing, right? He's fighting for what he thinks is right. It was just training, right? Training. Red dot, pull the trigger. I didn't even think about it.
Many people only know about China's high-speed trains, but do you know there is also a high-speed sleeper trains in China at night? It's perfect for people who want to travel between different cities without wasting daytime. Let's go explore it. Let's go.
China.
Hello, I'm Roger. Today I'm going to show you the China's high-speed sleeper train from Shanghai to Foshan.
Ooh.
Enter the train and then find my room. Oh, sorry, I went to the wrong room. I should check the small number, not the big number. Okay, this is my room. The room has an upper and a lower bed, a table, and a sofa that can seat 2 or 3 people. There's also a large storage cabinet, perfect for placing my luggage. When I open the upper cabinet, I find some hangers for my clothes and towels. On the table, there is a kettle, tissue, an information card, and a trash plate. Under the table, there's also a trash can. And on the side of the table, there are power outlets for charging my phone. Look what I found near the headboard. The camera? No, it's actually a light. Next to it, there is a remote control switch connected to the TV at the foot of the bed. This design really good. The equipment provided for the lower and upper beds is the same. But do you know what's the most exciting part? This room is a 2-person room, and the roommate is randomly assigned by gender. So there is a chance I might get a cute girl as my roommate.
Yeah, right.
Can't wait.
Roger.
Close the door and it will become a private, quiet space, even with a mirror.
And here, adjust the air conditioning temperature and the room lighting. There's also an SOS button for emergencies. And here is a hidden step. It's for climbing up to the upper bed. Okay, I'm going to lie down and wait for my roommate.
2 hours later, I have been waiting for 3 train stops. But it's bedtime. Still no one has bought to show my room. Looks like I will be spending this night alone.
Wow, look at that.
Open the curtains, enjoy the scenery along the way.
We are going to arrive. Alright, we had a quiet, peaceful, comfortable, and lonely night. Welcome everybody to find me by this high-speed sleeper train in Foshan.
For me, your kind friend Roger.
All right, Roger. China is living in the future. By the way, the other day I visited my mother and we rode a high-speed train from Bandung, which is her place, to Jakarta to visit her best friends. It was my first time riding it because this new is like 1 year. It's not even 1 year old, but my mother has ridden it maybe 20 times already.
Here's a new building they want to build on Billionaires Road because we don't need affordable housing. No, we need more buildings that billionaires can buy and not live in. This whole building is like empty. Who want to live in this Dyson fan-looking building anyway? You know somebody gonna try to fly through it. But don't worry, we got a new jail in Queens that's costing us like billions of dollars. Affordable housing? No. New jail? Yeah. JP Morgan got a whole new building. Every time I walk past it, I'm amazed how it's held up by this. But let's be happy a bank got another building. I'm guessing we're just over 9/11 because this looks safe. Here's that tower on Brooklyn, and here's another design that may go up. This whole building just looks upside down to me. Like you're not getting me to work on this top floor. I don't know what this will be, but it looks super cool, and I hope they build it. Like we do need this building. Here's another building that's planned to go up right next to Vanderbilt 1. So why are they building all these buildings and everybody works from home? Grand Central be empty. Who are you building these for? This looks like a PlayStation.
Meanwhile, New York City is low-key sinking.
The Olympic opening ceremony depicts the Last Supper, or at least some images taken from a Renaissance image of the Last Supper. This is from Mark. While they were eating, Jesus took bread, and when he had given thanks, he broke it and gave it to his disciples, saying, "Take it, this is my body." Then he took a cup, and when he had given thanks, he gave it to them, and they all drank from it. And he describes the nature of the covenant and goes on in Mark's gospel to say, "You will all fall away, you will betray me, you will deny me." And this is just verses before he enters Gethsemane for a night of prayer that precedes his trial and torture. I wonder what the function of the Olympics is. People might say it's just sort of an entertainment spectacle, but of course it's a massive commercial commodity. Look at the amount of revenue it generates and maybe spend some time looking at who sponsors it, who spends most money on it. There'll be recognizable commercial and corporate brands. You could query perhaps what their impact is. Inclusivity is a beautiful idea, for surely Jesus loves all of us, forgives all of us, died for all of us. I do wonder what these signs and ceremonies indicate, especially as I was in one once in 2012. Looking back at that, it was pretty crazy. Things have changed. Let me know what you think about that Olympic ceremony and its meaning.
I absolutely love how much Jesus has used him for the people. I have watched his journey and so grateful for what he has done for others. God bless him.
About Scotty Smalls from Babe Ruth. Not, did I say Babe Ruth?
You said Babe Ruth.
Oh, I meant the Sandlot.
Oh, yeah. You're killing me, Smalls.
Yeah.
The main guy. Kid? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
Hi.
Did you not see the video of him recently?
No. Oh, no.
Apparently he was intoxicated somehow.
Smalls.
And went to his neighbor's house shirtless and was holding a big knife. And he thought his wife was in the house. He's like banging on the door, like holding this knife, just like
he was tripping.
Doing something.
Yeah.
And he was walking out of the driveway and picked up a dumbbell and threw it in his neighbor's
my
Jeep
goodness.
window. Smashed it in.
No. Smalls, no.
Smalls.
Why?
That was a big deal.
Smalls, that wasn't so Smalls. You're going to prison.
Yeah.
That's the judge.
You have the right to a lawyer.
This is a human skin sandwich, and these are the 10 most messed up things ever found in fast food. Part 2. Number 5, human teeth in a candy bar. In 2011, a Texas woman took a bite into a Milky Way candy bar, and to her surprise and disgust, she found human teeth inside of it. She took one bite and it was fine, so she took another bite and she bit down on something crunchy. So it must have been a peanut. However, she then realized that Milky Bars don't contain peanuts, and it was in fact a tooth. The origin of the tooth was never found. Number 4, the human skin sandwich. At an Arby's in Florida, a man found a slice of human skin in his chicken sandwich. The man said something wasn't right when he bit into the sandwich and found a piece of flesh about an inch long. He said, "It looked like I was seeing fingerprints on it." An investigation found that the skin came from one of the restaurant managers who cut his thumb while chopping vegetables and didn't think to discard the contaminated lettuce. Number 3, mouse in soda. While this one may have been disproved, the details of the defense are arguably more disgusting than the initial claim. In 2009, a man in Illinois said that he'd found a dead mouse in his Mountain Dew and sued the parent company, PepsiCo. In their defense, Pepsi argued that the acidity of Mountain Dew is so high that the mouse would have dissolved into a jelly-like substance before the man could have even found it, which is not really the flex that they think it is. Number 2, lung in fried chicken. In 2013, a customer went to KFC on his day off and ordered a 3-piece chicken box, which upon close inspection contained what appeared to be a lung in their chicken wing. Despite this, he wasn't even offered a refund and was told he should contact customer service. Number 1 is bullets in a hot dog, but before I get to it, if you like these videos and you want to help support the channel, then please just drop a follow. It really helps me out. Thank you. In 2004, a woman in California found 9mm rounds inside of her Costco hot dog by inadvertently swallowing one, which led to severe internal injuries. The woman told police she was eating the hot dog while in the store when she bit down on something hard that the officers determined to be a 9mm round. However, when she later went to the hospital complaining about stomach pains, the x-ray found there was actually a second bullet inside of her stomach.
The chicken lung one isn't even that bad. It's still food and it's cooked, unlike the other ones, which is actually gross.
Everybody I hate in New York City. These rude-ass Midtown subway workers who get mad at you because they messing up your sandwich, saying you didn't say that. Mother, I get the same sandwich every time I come in here. Subways, if you don't get some McDonald's computers in your establishment, because I'm sick of them. Next is going to be these city MD doctors. I feel like I got diagnosed myself and you just writing the paperwork. All you do is stare at me until I confess what I got. Any MTA worker behind that glass. Why do you need so much protection? Like, what do you know that I don't know? That you're behind bulletproof glass before I enter the subway. If the Walmart greeter was behind some glass before I entered Walmart, I would feel a little different about my experience. So why do we still have this? Any car salesman tried to rush me into buying a big purchase. I truly hate you and happy that computers are going to take your job. I'm not saying I hate y'all, but damn y'all be on your phones a lot. I've seen whole crimes happen and police just be on their phone.
So we now have Secret Service on camera admitting that a second person was detained. Okay, who's that person? Who is this second person?
He's the one that sent the pictures out. I don't know if you got the same ones I did.
I think I did, yeah. He's like got his glasses on and he's...
So we had the picture of that?
I got that.
Okay, and then this is his bike with the stuff. And our sniper seen him walking away from that, I believe.
Okay.
But he would be right inside that window. He's the one that physically seen this, sent the pictures, and called it out.
Okay, so and we have somebody detained, correct? Our guy that was just up here told me that there's a guy detained.
Admitting to the Secret Service agent that they had this guy in his sights and they just basically let him get away with it.
It was Maxwell's Yerrick. He is the other person. They are from the same state, use the same range, and they look similar to one another.
There are 7 stages a killer goes through to become a serial killer. The first phase is the aura phase. This is when the killer starts to create this aura around him, this almost border, distance themselves from social relationships and people. The second phase is the trolling phase, and it usually consists of the killer kind of toying with the idea of killing a little bit more. Instead of just having fantasies, they start thinking of, well, what would the process look like? Lewis was the oldest of 7 kids, and one day, like a drill sergeant, he's lining up his little siblings. He's yelling, get in line, get in line. Males and female siblings, okay? They're really young. Lewis himself is only 15 years old. He forces them to line up, strip down of all their clothes, and from there, he goes one by one, slowly caressing them. Now we enter into the 3rd phase. This is kind of the flirting phase. More concrete plans are being made in this phase. They're literally flirting with the idea of killing, which is terrifying to think about. Lewis is in his 20s. You would never in a million years think that this man is flirting with the idea of becoming a serial killer if you met him. He's working at a bakery. He's baking loaves of bread. He goes to church every single Sunday. He even attended AA meetings to address his relationship with alcohol. Middle-aged women would come down into the bakery, buy a loaf of bread, and shove pictures of their daughter in Lewis's face. Lewis, hey, my daughter is single. Lewis would politely decline, and he said, you know, maybe later. Got a lot on my mind right now. Lewis had started assaulting little boys in the park. The 4th phase that serial killers typically take is the capturing phase. And Lewis was capturing a ton of children. About 200 children were captured by Lewis, brutally assaulted, and ultimately released. After 12 years, he would escalate into phase 5, murder. And his first kill was almost on a whim. Lewis tied the boy up, he bit him everywhere, and then assaulted him. But he said that he just felt this anger. He said it was the strongest impulse of his entire life, and it was the impulse to punch this boy. So he sat on this boy and quite literally beat this boy to death with his bare hands. Like, the boy cannot get up. Phase 6 is a phase that sets serial killers and murderers apart, which is serial killers typically take trophies. And then the last phase is the depression phase. Once Lewis was done with his first kill, like most serial killers, he fell into a state of depression. Lewis said he was so disappointed in himself. He's disappointed in himself because he killed someone. It feels like such a light word to use, but he said he was so disappointed in himself, he walked himself into church, wept in front of the statue of Jesus, and he just cried. Louis Garabito. He was sentenced for 162 murders. The courts counted up all the years that he would get for each individual case, and it came down to 1,853 years and 9 days. This man is being sentenced to 1,853 years. But Colombia has a max prison sentence. And just like that, 1,853 years turned into 40 years. 40.
Imagine rejecting someone and they're so angry that they frame you for the worst possible crime. This documentary is so heartbreaking and enraging. In 1998, 4 Latina lesbians were wrongfully convicted of gang raping 2 little girls. If you love documentaries, make sure to hit follow because I post daily and you'll never have to search for something to watch. Their father was mad that one of these women had rejected him, and he was also her brother-in-law. And because he was also extremely homophobic, he concocted this whole story that her girlfriend, and their 2 friends did this horrible crime. They also said that they were doing satanic rituals with the children because everybody involved in this was extremely homophobic, and it was during the satanic panic. These women were wrongfully convicted and sent to prison for 15 years. I will say there is justice in this story, which doesn't happen very often. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments.
Looks very interesting.
These are the 3 men who usually pull the strings: Pope Francis, Pepe Orsini, and Arturo Sosa. The white, gray, and black pope. A secret society called the Black Nobility. And that all happened in the Vatican. It is a group of elite families who played a role of shaping our history, from paganism, Roman Caesar, to the Vatican. And this cabal's power, its a lineage traces back our civilizations, and also orchestrated the rise of the empire, even the fall of the kings, pulling strings of power, and mostly, always behind the scenes. As they said, beware of a wolf on a sheep clothing. The ones who act saints are mostly not it. This is strong ties of high priest, banking families. The Grey Pope are closely guarded. This is their secret box. They master manipulation and diplomacy, skilled in the art of maintaining the status quo. And the Black Pope is the leader of the Jesuits order. And Jesuits played role in politics, your education system, and the banking. In short, these people educate us to be their slave, and that equivalents for thousands of years, while them are just sitting on their saggy balls. The world we see is not as always as it appears. Behind the facade of all these faith, a hidden world power and mostly operates and influence in the shadows. So yeah, you've been programmed to reject and ridicules of any sets of ideals that don't correlate with your programming. It is just a plain indoctrination. Like for example, some youth wishing to be an astronaut, knowing about outer space and stuff, solar eclipses and so on. There's a reason why you work and eat 3 times a day, and that's on Earth. Because you will not going to work outside space, because there's no job for you there. Space is not a real place. Indoctrination is a process of repeating an idea or belief to someone or anyone until they accept it, even of how stupid it is, without criticism, without questions. How would we know? Children are blank slates. It can be taught anything. You can teach the child martial arts for all his life, or a greatest mathematician of all time. And that depends on the program they can zoom in. And we all hear some kids wishing to be an astronaut until he gets matured and realize it would be easier to be a chef than an astronaut. Astronaut is the most unrealistic job in the world you could ever hope to acquire. Like for us to be in outer space, flying on a dust of infinite energy and galaxies or galactic stuffs. But no, they are all sending up rockets every few years, and they tell you they reach outer space. Assalamu alaikum.
Great perception. But what about the Black Rock and Vanguard? Anyone know?
Speak! Speak!
These guys are so funny, but sometimes I feel sad for Roy, the Asian guy. He's always the target. Alright, folks, thank you for staying till the end. Be kind to each other. If you haven't subscribed, please do. And don't forget to like or dislike so I can make a better content. There's a free gift below. And if you want to buy me coffee or support me through Patreon, the links are in the description below. Have a prosperous day and God bless.